So, okay, now we continue the morning session with a presentation from Erika Nuward is working at SOA. It's the project leader and project manager for the, let's say, whole project on light water small modular reactor SMR. Correct me if I'm wrong, Eric. Today will provide us an overview about, I would say, one of the most, let's say, promising projects on small modular reactor that we have here in Europe, which is NUWARD. So, Eric, the floor is yours.
Okay, thanks a lot, Stefano. Do you hear me well?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, great. So it's my pleasure to be not with you, but participant to this summer school, and I would have loved to be in Italy, but okay, it's not possible for me. Since I'm quite away, to facilitate the delay between slides, I will shut down my video, and I will go on now with the slides, and tell me when you see them so I can go on with my presentation.
Okay, now we see.
It's okay?
Yes, now yes. Thank you.
Okay, great. So, hi everyone. So as you mentioned, Stefano, my name is Eric Anus. I'm working at the CEA, CEA Cadarache in southern part of France, and my position at CEA is a project manager for small modular reactors. And today it's my pleasure to give you an overview of the NUWARD project I'm involved in. Good on slide, you will see it clearly to give you some hints of who is involved in NUWARD. Some of you remember the preliminary discussion we had when prepared ELSMOR, so it's already some years. And at the end, I said, we had a project in France, and we started discussion with EDF, CEA, and we decided it was at that time, now it's NUWARD within ELSMOR, a study case. As you can see now that the partnership has grown, and we have included Framatome, and we've started to be not only French, and we've included also recently our colleague from Belgium with Tractable. The agenda I propose for discussion today is the following. I will be giving you some information about the target application of the
Yeah, we cannot hear you.
Information. Obviously, it's important to share with. You don't see the slide?
No, I mean.
Hello.
The connection is not so well, so sometimes we lose your voice.
I'm very sorry, but I can't do better.
Let's try.
Let's try this way. I was saying the browsing the agenda of my presentation with the applications, the markets, the roadmap where we stand at the moment, what's the future for the project. I'll be sharing with you the approach we have at European and international level, and giving you some information about the design and the key technical parts. Also sharing with you And as you know, SMR is not only small reactor, it's also modular reactors. So I'll be giving you some information on how we include modularity in the NUWARD project. Is it okay now? You hear me correctly?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thanks. Once again, it's sorry for the bad connection. About the market, what we clearly identified is that we need to be developing some energy sources in order to reach carbon-free emissions. That goal we also have all together in Europe and in most countries at international level. And the first target we have is aging coal-fired power plants that are in the range of 300 to 400 electrical megawatt. So that gives an hint about the power we should provide. One other target is also to address electricity to some remote municipalities and also to energy intensive industrial location. And in comparative with larger reactors, SMRs and NUWARD is a powering grids with limited capacity that cannot cope with large power plants. Also in evolution, we've done we're not only dealing with electricity production, we are now considering hydrogen production for transport, because we need also to decarbonize transport and heavy transportation. We are aiming to be working also in cogeneration mode, so to supply both heat and electricity. And we have in mind some of the application for heat, like district heating, and also the need to have water desalination as a clue for the coming years. I move on to the timeline. Here I will start first with some keywords about the participants. I guess no CEA, so we have experts in technology and in research and development and innovations for all type of energies and renewable energies. Naval Group have an expertise in naval defense. They are designing also and developing innovative solutions for the fleets. Technicatom is specialized in design, construction, and commissioning, operation and maintenance of compact nuclear reactors, which are the name we are giving to these reactors in comparison to small modular reactors. Framatome, you probably know, is a leader, international leader on the nuclear worldwide market, designing and supplying NWWS systems and fueling. Tractable is the architect engineer responsible of the Belgian fleet for some years now. And it has already some partnership with EDF. So coming now to NUWARD, you see here the timeline. We had a pre-conceptual design phase that ended in mid 2019. Since then, we have entered the ending 22 years. The next will be the basic design phase, and then after that, obviously, we begin construction. I'd like to share also with you that we are benefiting in the project news and very government. Just some here remind that a 50 million budget has been allocated in September 2020 for NUWARD as part of the French recovery plan with the COVID. By the same year, at the end of the year, our President Macron underlined the importance of nuclear energy to achieve carbon neutrality. and his willingness to position France as a key player on the SMR market. In 2021, EDF, for leading the NUWARD project, has entered a series of discussions with our French authority and its TSO, IRSN. Then about in October 21, so last year, our president announced a 1 billion euro investment in nuclear energy, and later on in February 2022, half of this 1 billion euros, so that is 500 million euro, has been allocated to NUWARD. And also the commitment from our president is he announced that a construction of a reference plant in France will be launched by 2030. Now, as I said, with French growing European and at international level, this slide shows this evolution. With you as organization and countries, we have been very active at European level to promote a domestic European SMR program. I know that many of you are involved in the discussion about these work streams, about SMRs and the role of the European level, or they can also support this initiative. And we have, as I said, I will show that later on, we have started cooperation also with the European safety authorities. At worldwide market, the ambition is to start cooperation with customers. So we have already contacts with countries, industries, and utilities who are willing to develop SMR projects. And in order to accelerate the development and commercialization of NUWARD, we have put in place an organization which is called NUWARD. I will show you who is part of this advisory board and what the goal of this has been set up. Once again, I insist on international cooperation. So one main objective is to foster the regulatory harmonization for licensing and design standardization. And clearly, ELSMOR was aiming at that. So ELSMOR was first of a kind, I would say, project. And clearly, we are willing also to promote policies to support creation and development of SMRs to sustainable market. As I said, one word about this international NUWARD advisory board, clearly is to bring together highly experienced senior representatives from industry, from research organization, to provide insights and inputs to the development of NUWARD. You see here the organizations that are involved in the INAB. So people from Baba in India, guys from Canada who is very active with Ontario Power Generation. We've got also people from Czech Republic with UGV, people from Finland with Fortum, TVO. We have also people from MIT in the States. And we have, Marco is probably with you. We have also Marco Ricotti from Politecnico di Milano. And also participants from CE and EF. One more slide to try to illustrate what we are trying to do at the moment to create the condition for the international licensing of SMR. So as I said, we want to develop communication on safety and licensing at international level, and we are pushing to have a collaboration between the safety team and these international licensings. And that's why we have this commitment with 3 safety authorities, so SUGB in Czech Republic, STUK in Finland, and ASN in France. And NUWARD would be used as the first case in Europe to perform a joint early review of the design. So clearly at an early stage of the project, which is very nice to have the feedback on the safety authorities from different countries. Now I'll be switching my presentation about the technology we are involving in NUWARD. So here are some bullets about the performance of the product. You are probably aware that we have a power which is consistent with the target as mentioned with the coal-fired plant, so with 340 electric megawatts with 2 integrated reactors. Okay, you have here in terms of performance of availability and lifetime, 60 years. The safety objectives, okay, they are in due line with international standards. Modularity, I will come back to that later on. What you need to keep in mind that we are targeting a 40 months construction time for the reactor construction. Okay, that's an illustration. I won't comment about improvement of landscape integration. I think it's nice, but okay, that's what we try to do. Maybe we'll be discussing more on the multi-purpose of the, I mentioned that already, it's a different application, not on electricity, and that's clearly the attention that many of us need to do in order to provide a carbon-free energy sectors. The product is designed for export. It allows adaptation for these multiple markets without a significant redesign. That is very important. And I mentioned, I guess, the timeline we have for the first concrete in France. So no surprise, we are aiming at 2030 for this. I check time. Don't hesitate to tell me when I have only 5 minutes left. I need to rush a little bit. About the technology, clearly, when we moved with NUWARD, we wanted to have this project based on one experience of the light water power reactor, which is the case. And in some cases, we have included some technology innovations to improve performance. And about safety, I mean, it's quite normal with the people here involved in ELSMOR. I won't comment that much more. About the global picture, the new and auxiliary nuclear building. Here you got the global overview about the plant with these 2 units. The containment image in full. In the 2 units, you've got the pool. About the key markers that are written, okay, these are consistent with the light water technologies. The secondary circuit at 45 bars. The fuel is a standard fuel, UO2 with a standard enrichment below 5%. Assembly again, it's what's already available on shelf, 17 by 17. The fuel cycle length is 2 years. And one important point is also we are developing control wall drive mechanisms that are integrated into the reactor pressure vessel. About the sizing, so the containment globally, so the metallic one that is in the pool diameter about 15 meters and height slightly above 17 meters. And to give some figures, the pool is 20 meter by 20 by 20. I won't comment about the design on the containment on the right-hand side. If I go now within this containment, so we have so some dimension about the RPV. The height is about 15 meters, and the diameter is that one that we know how to fabricate this RPV, so 5 meters. I will try to boost quite quickly here. What we have within the RPV, it's an integrated architecture, which means that the steam generators are inside. And we have developed a unique technology, which ended up with compact plate steam generators, which are very efficient. I will comment the passive safety cooling system, the RRP design. One mention about the core, it's a boron that is being developed. This containment submerged, I mentioned it. And also one point I didn't tell about the nuclear island. The building is located below ground, at least it's semi-buried, to improve the protection against external hazards. So if I go now within the vessel, so you've got here a schematic on the left-hand side with the core, the razor, the hot, the complex steam generators. And what's important here, it's what we call P, which is the passive safety systems. In order to cope with removal of the residual heat, we have placed a condenser within the containment. The condenser is connected to the water pool, and this loop helps us to remove the decay heat for a large period of time. Here is globally the strategy we're developing for the different type of operation. And normal operation, obviously, it's an active management. And then when we are entering all the design basis conditions, so to the whole situation, the idea is to have a fully passive management of these situations. With the RRP I briefly described earlier, and that are illustrated on the right-hand side. When we move to the design extension conditions, so the decay situation, the idea is to manage them with active means. To give you an idea, the AWB will be injecting boron, a dedicated system, and in the extreme scenario of loss of plus loss of and finally, the last situation with the DEC-B, the strategy is to cope with the Korean with the in-vessel retention strategy. Now this slide, it gives an hint about the facility we are developed in order to characterize some of the system we have put in NUWARD. So on the left-hand side, the exocet facility is clearly looked to have a look at the physics that is natural relation in the condenser. So it's a loop between the condenser and the water pool in order to check or some cases when there are stabilities in the flow. And RP is modeling experimentally the RP is the average line. We have some representations of you in the middle pictures. And on the right hand side, okay, as I mentioned, Exoset is dealing with the condenser, the safety condenser, and everyone is dealing with the global RRP design. Now I move on with this slide about some information about the compact steam generators and the safety compact steam generators. Years we have 6 generators, 6 to provide steam. 2 null, these 2 are dedicated to we have produced, manufacturers, compact steam generators mock-ups for the process. You've got some illustration on the right, on the left-hand side. Right-hand side is also a facility in which we have already tested some years ago. Here you can see 2019 the performance of these particular CHD steam generators. Now about the CRDM, I won't go into detail, but okay, the motor technology is approved, the design about the wiring, obviously it's in vessel, so we need to couple with the electrical device from through the vessel. We have developed penetrations, and okay, that's the purpose of these pictures here. And okay, maybe I have some more time. I've only got 2 slides left about modularity, which we often don't discuss much about, and to me it's very important. We have modularity at all the areas of the clearly, the modular design helps for the construction, but it also helps. It's also helpful for operation and maintenance, and also, if we take on a longer term, for the decommissioning phase. These modules, before operation, they will be manufactured and they will be also tested in factory, which is very useful in order to save some construction time on site. And these modules, they will be, as far as possible, transported in easy way in containers by standard means. I'm browsing through what's written here. I won't go into details. Also, in terms of maintenance, the main advantage of having developed modules is to use, let's say, the plug-and-play concept for maintenance, which works smoothly. So what we need to bear in mind is that modularity reduces the overall cost of the project. We have some gains in terms of schedule. We have also some gains in terms of factory manufacturing, and it improves the financial risk management. Now I will be ending my presentation with that slide, which gives you of how we consider modularity in NUWARD. We don't develop modularity only in the NSSS, but all over the plant. We have a target of having more than 80% of the components and functions based on modules. And also what we want to develop is a limited number of modules in order to have an easiness of transportation. Only one is not many components, and we'll be having some function associated modules also. And on the right hand side, you have some ideas about how we can having we can have models. We do have some for the containment. The part within the, we have some share. You can see for typical these accumulators, RRPC we have within the containments, and these are quite big modules, so they require specialized transport. And if we go down now to the BNI and CI balance of plant modules, these are much smaller ones that are diffy. I haven't checked out. I think it's maybe time to finish and to pick up some questions from the audience if you have any. And I hope the quality of the connection line was not that bad.
Okay, thank you, Eric, for the presentation. And probably it's better if you just unshare your screen so we can try to, let's say, improve the quality of the connection. So,
okay,
time for questions. So I have a couple of questions actually. I mean, in the streamline of our discussion. So you mentioned about the fact that you are trying to collect different regulatory body in order to provide with an early review. And we were discussing with Sean that this is okay. Mostly of the time, this regulatory agrees on the recommendation, but then the implementation of the recommendation could be, I mean, different from different countries. So, and this connected to the fact that you want to achieve, let's say, something that should be exported, let's say, with minimum change in the design to different countries. So the question is, which is your strategy to achieve this, let's say, standardization with respect to the different regulation in the country, in different countries?
It's a tricky question. In a perfect world, we would like, obviously, to have an harmonization between the different safety authorities. But when we discuss about harmonizing, it's always tricky because, as you said, we'll be ending up with some national the strategy is clearly not only to discuss with our French authority. I mentioned very probably that we have started this, to discuss with them since last year, but we want to also involve other authorities in Europe in order to have their feedback on how we have our safety strategy, what's been joint early review. And the purpose of this is hopefully to have a maximum common base. And if there were, I don't know, still some slight accommodation from one country to one country, in that we will need to know, but clearly the idea is to have
Sorry, Eric. We cannot hear you now. Eric?
That's the goal of power and one design. Aha. Do you hear me or not?
Yeah, we get now. Yes. Can you just repeat the last, let's say, minute of your? of your answer.
Okay. I stopped the video. I just thought I had stopped it earlier. Okay, I don't know when I lost you, but globally, the idea is we would like, as industrial project, to have an harmonized regulation. Okay, that's the final goal. That's also the intention with the ELSMOR project, is to gather people trying to discuss, and that's the final target. We are aware it's not an easy task, an easy way. So what we do with this joint early review is that we are gathering three European safety authorities together to discuss at a very early stage, and that's quite new in Europe. And the goal is clearly to have a maximum common base in terms of licensing, and also to discuss about specificities from one country to another one, on how can these specificities be accommodated. Did you catch me, or?
Yeah. That was very clear. And the second question is about the idea of having a boron-free concept. So can you just provide, let's say, which are the challenges in, let's say, trying to conceive a reactor with a boron-free, let's say, feature? Because we mentioned in the also today, but also yesterday, that for sure it's something that helps you in, let's say, in reducing the size of your reactor and also to reduce the waste. But on the other hand, which are the challenges in this process, so in obtaining a boron-free design?
Okay, so good. It's good that you mentioned the advantages. I would say also in terms of design, if you don't have to have all these chemical plants within actors, that's also cost effective. And in terms of safety analysis, if you don't have any boron dilution, it's useful, because when you involve basic systems, you will have in some cases some water that is boiling, and if it with soluble boron, obviously you have crystallization at one stage and at one end, and obviously you may have less boron. That's about the advantage. To come back about what's the challenge of having a boron-free core on the design, I mean, at the moment it's okay. What you need is to replace at some level the absence of soluble boron. So how we do that? We do it two ways. By adding burnable poison within the fuels. So we have some wood with typically some gadolinium, for instance. And the other means is to use much more, I would say, frequently the control rods. I would say even that the control rods are immersed in the core much more than what they used to be for large reactors running with soluble boron. So these are two ways to compensate for the absence of soluble boron. And what we need to design is the core with, as I mentioned, these fuels. We need to develop a way we monitor the bars, and in order to have a limited peak factor, local peak factor inside the core.
Yeah, and
but it works.
Axial offset, right?
Yes, the offset from the small reactors, it's much less also than on a large one, obviously. But you're right, yeah.
Okay, thank you. So, are there any other questions for Eric? So let me check online. No? So if not, Thank you again, Eric, for the presentation. And I hope to see you soon in Cadarache for the other project that we have. Probably we can mention, since you have mentioned the co-generation with hydrogen, that there will be also a new project involving also this aspect of the cogeneration, which is the tandem project that will be coordinated by SEA. So thank you, Eric.
Okay.
And okay.
Thanks, Stefano. Thanks all of you. And you'll be very welcome for the ELSMOR and Tandem meeting in September in Cadarache. And have a nice summer school. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Eric. So this ends our morning session. Now we have the lunch break, and we reconvene at 2 p.m.